So this is part three of me looking at Wonder Woman's Rogues Gallery. Now, I just was looking at Dr. Poison, and I just wanted to finish off just saying that, as I said, very, very underwritten, not very used in recent times, but she has a great imagery about her if you can look up any images of her. And for me, there's so much potential in just from the look of what she could be. She almost looks like this kind of transsexual, insane serial killer to me. And I think, coupled with the fact that she uses deadly toxins as a weapon, and she's absorbed these deadly poisons so that she can actually emit them from her breath and from the pores of her skin. I think there's a lot that can be done with the iconography of that character. Next on the list is Circa. I haven't much to say about her, but a great villain. She's a sorceress who sees mortals as weak and there to be subjugated. She has no idea whatsoever as to why Wonder Woman would choose to defend such weak creatures as men, especially with the lack of goodwill that men in history have shown women. So she's a fantastic villain. Simple, basic. I wouldn't make her one of the main villains, but again, she's a very powerful sorceress, and this theme of the warrior versus the mystic is something that comes up a lot amongst Wonder Woman's rogues. The next one on my list, now these are some of my favorites. Now they're called the Crow Children. Again, very, very recent creations by Gail Simone, but I think if DC seriously want to improve and make iconic villains for Wonder Woman, they both have to add new villains, but also go back to old material and look at it and see, don't throw the baby out with the bathwater as such. Try and update these guys. They might not have been perfect at the time, but given some more exploration, they could be really interesting. So these are the Crow Children. They consist of the children of Ares, which is Brother Spider, Brother Goat, Brother Scorpion, Brother Rat, and Brother Adder. They are the 5 half siblings of Ares. They walk around they're depicted as about 8 years old, and they walk around in prep school clothes using mannered and articulate speech to sarcastically denounce violence and civil unrest, while in fact being the instigators of it. They use subtle suggestions and manipulations to cause it, hiding behind their innocent and polite demeanors. Their mannered speech can be and subtle suggestions can be so convincing that sometimes they cause themselves or the victims of this form of speech to have mild hallucinations to bring reality in line with what they are saying. So again, they're really, really, I mean, again, I don't know if I'm doing them justice. It's worth actually reading War Killer just to see how good they are. They're very humorous. They're very poignant to now. They come across as these kind of like little boys, but who represent these old conservative values and are mocking them, while in fact being the instigators of all the violence that they disavow. On to the next one, which is Veronica Cale. Now, Veronica Cale recently was depicted in a Wonder Woman TV show, and man, was it bad. I am very, very glad that the general audience were not introduced to this version of Veronica Cale. It was actually probably the worst thing about the show. She was actually played by Elizabeth Hurley, who shouldn't have any place in the acting world. So I must admit, what is Veronica Cale? She's a billionaire owner of a multinational corporation, and she hates Wonder Woman. So yeah, you could see her as a bit of a Lex Luthor ripoff. However, where she comes in best is not to put her as the highlight of the whole thing, but to her to be behind and using all these kind of mystical forces that come her way because she hates Wonder Woman, to use them as an aids in her diabolical plan. Now, although she can remind you in the basic sense of Lex Luthor. She was given a great backstory by Greg Rucka, that kind of explores her motivations, which are quite different from Lex Luthor. Again, there's an element of jealousy there of Wonder Woman, but it's more of a kind of sexual jealousy, and her thinking that, as a woman she's had to try hard, whereas Wonder Woman hasn't had to do anything at all to be seen as attractive and to be seen as equal to men. So she's also from the South, so she has this kind of femme fatale Southern belle kind of swag, which I think is, and a sexual charisma, which I think is very, very different from Lex Luthor. And last but not least, we all know her. She is Medusa and the Gorgons. She's the chick that turns people to stone. But Medusa in Wonder Woman is always joined by her equally twisted sisters, Uriel and Sereno. They seek vengeance on Athena and therefore her greatest champion, Wonder Woman, for banishing them to Tartarus, and Medusa from separating her from her loved one, Poseidon. Wonder Woman and Medusa have some really class A smackdowns. This is really like a physical threat for Wonder Woman. Obviously, she can't look at her directly in the eyes, otherwise she's going to be turned to stone. So a lot of things have been done where she's been blindfolded to fight her. She even once, Wonder Woman even once poured acid in her eyes to prevent Medusa from transforming her to stone, blinding herself for a number of the series, but still, because of her warrior skills, able to match Medusa. So those are all great villains, and there are more. There are more, by the way, of Wonder Woman villains that are great. Thematically, these guys connect. Often there is an element where what connects Wonder Woman's villains is a distorted form of love. Wonder Woman obviously has a pure and undistorted form of love, which is central to her character and why she is a hero. And for her villains to have this distorted form of love for her, or jealousy, or whatever it may be, is a good way of connecting hero and villain thematically. So again, there is no problem with Wonder Woman's Rogues Gallery. They just need updating. They just need to be more in the public eye, so as to look as genuine threats to not just Wonder Woman, but probably other superheroes as well.